Yeah, let's read this closely, chat. This kind of struck my eye as I was browsing Twitter yesterday. Dragon Age Veilguard writers said that Expedition 33 succeeded because they got time to cook. They got time to add surgery scars to please the mentally ill modern audience. Oh my god. Oh, of course it's IGN chat. What the f did we expect, man? Former Dragon Age writer says, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 and Baldur's Gate 3 prove what's possible when a game is given time to cook. Man, this is some fucking copium chat. That's a big fat copium. Surgery scars are also included in this for all of our trans friends, I think it was what was said. Yeah. I don't know, man. I've just got this really weird feeling, chat, that no matter how long Veilguard was given to cook, to contemplate, to think critically about their game, these writers that are coping about other games being more successful would still come to the same fucking conclusion that having top surgery scars in a medieval fantasy RPG with magic and shape-shifting at will is a good idea and not a total immersion break, bro. Like breaking the virtual signaling grift that only reminds the players of the real world that they're trying to forget about when they're playing this fucking game, man. Like, what are we doing? 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, shitty team will only ever pump out shit. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't fucking matter, man. Yeah, it's an actual skill issue. Yep, here we go. How long has the Veilguard been in development? The game has began development in 2015! It was affected by lengthy delays. Originally planned as a live service game, the game was re-envisioned as a single-player title, following the success of God of War and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Chat, this is the other thing. The other really funny thing is that Veilguard had like 8 years to cook. Why are you implying that you failed because you didn't have enough time? Like, how long was Expedition 33? You know, in development for? I'll look it up. Expedition 33 development time.
Yo, smugglers, here to quickly interrupt your latest React viewing to tell you about this adorable SmugAlana Fire plushie. Kick it, hunt it, do whatever you want, but she goes away forever, ever on June 24th, so grab yours while you can.
Development of Claire Obscure Expedition 33 spanned a period of approximately 5 years. The game was released in April, blah, 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 blah. Development initially began in 2020, sharing their work and co-founding Sandfall Interactive in 2020. Wow, that's crazy, chat. 6 years. So you're complaining that a game that is wildly more successful than yours and saying it's because it had time to cook? When in reality, not only did you have longer, but you also had the funding of a major AAA company, BioWare. Expedition 33 was made by a small team of devs. Like, how many people was it? Someone said 33? How many devs worked on Expedition 33? 30 people. 30 people. Expedition 33 was made by a small team of devs that were assembled by a dude that broke off of or from Ubisoft. The difference is unironically night and day. Baldur's Gate 3 was made in 6 years too. Yeah, by a AA game development company. It's so gross. Let me look up the article, hold on. I need to read this quote myself. I just googled it, the guy who was being quoted didn't even work on Veilguard, he left before the development started. Yeah. So you're defending a game that you didn't actually even work on or finish. That's strong, I like that. It's because they have like this weird stake in this race of like, oh, we're owning the chuds. Expedition 33 is for chud lords. Where is it? Former Dragon Age writer says Claire Obscure approves what's possible when a game is given time to cook. Bro. Truly exceptional games don't just appeal to their audience, they expand it. Former Dragon Age lead writer, blah 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 blah, like you said, didn't work on the game in its finality. Sales of Baldur's Gate 3 were amazing and kind of make a lie out of it. I remember when I was at EA, there was a lot of investigation how large the RPG audience is, blah 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 blah. Good is very subjective. And it doesn't always add up to success. Plenty of games are overlooked or fail to meet some arbitrary sales goal for any number of reasons, not least of which is the overwhelming number of good games out there. One obvious example is EA's own recent RPG epic, yeah, epically shit, Dragon Age the Veilguard, which was well received by critics and players, but failed to put up sufficient numbers and may well mark the end of a series, at least for now. Oh my god, man. Oh my god, I'm getting, oh, the cope, man. And the funniest fucking thing you put Veilguard on the same pedestal as Expedition 33. Even if you ignore all the woke, all the virtue signaling, the blue sky pandering bullshit in Veilguard, it was still just mid. It was a mid game that didn't redefine anything. It was painfully mid. And if you focus on the writing, it drops from mid to terrible. The writing was cringe and filled with mentally ill self-inserts by these stupid writers. It was in no way a good game. Expedition 33 was an actual masterpiece. The story is compelling. The graphics are amazing. And the gameplay is amazing. The art direction is phenomenal. Expedition is mid as well. They did nothing new and copied everything from other games. What are you smoking? What? I mean, okay, sure, yes, they did take it from other games, but they took together what other games didn't finish off. I think it's a 10 out of 10 game. I really need to play it. I've seen people start the game and I really want to get into it, but I don't think it's copying every other game on the market. It's iterative. And it was a risk on a genre that is not extremely popular either. Expedition 33 expanded on JRPG gameplay mechanics. What do you mean they did nothing new? The entire game was reimagined for traditional JRPGs. Yes, and that is a difficult thing to do with a Western market, and it clearly worked. Because JRPGs are usually for a niche target audience in the West. The music's fantastic, the story is really, really cool. Some of the endings apparently are not great, but, you know, that's like subjective, I would say. Some people think that, like, you know, corny endings are bad, but, you know, some people enjoy that stuff. But I digress. What I'm trying to say is that you can't say, you cannot put Expedition 33 on the same level as Dragon Age, even if you strip away quote-unquote copying gameplay and saying that it's not actually that innovative. Nah, you just can't. My biggest problem I have with Veilguard is it's more of a hack and slash adventure versus being a strategic RPG like all the other Dragon Age games. Yes, because they deviated away to make it more safe, to not cater to the target audience of the old Dragon Age games, because they said, we don't really like this because it's too niche. We need to broaden it so that more people enjoy it. Let me finish this though, before I lose my train of thought. But Gator is seemingly talking about the much rarer phenomenon of games that are truly exceptional rather than merely good. I think there's such a thing as expanding the audience as opposed to treating the audience as this finite number of people, right? He said, and I think that's what Expedition 33 really does. I think it manages to take the elements of JRPGs, and I don't think it's doing a lot of things new, honestly. It's taking a number of more recent trends and kind of bundling them up in an interesting way that I think it makes it very accessible to people who don't normally who would normally not play RPGs, JRPGs, which is the point. I think that's a good idea. And he said the successes of Clair Obscur and Baldur's Gate 3 also demonstrates what's possible when given time to cook. Baldur's Gate 3 had an extended and very front-facing early access period, while Clair Obscur director Mr. Broche said earlier in May that it would have taken years to get the project approved at his former company, Ubisoft. What did I just say? What did I just say earlier? They're fucking killing the game, man. Shit like this happens all the time. Publishers want mass appeal. What did I just say? They want to feel comfortable. De-risk it by imagining how the appeal translates to many different kinds of audiences, which I think often kind of ends up diluting the very specific things the game can do. Like I said, with Baldur's Gate 3 and Expedition, what it does is say, yes, appeal very, very strongly to that audience, but it's so strong that it ends up growing that audience. So you're telling me good game means that even people who aren't necessarily attracted to the audience or the game itself, the genre, might pick it up because it's so fucking good? No way! What? That's crazy! He's not wrong. Coming up on 2 years after this full release, Baldur's Gate 3 remains one of the most played games on Steam, while Player 2 has only been around for a month. It's right up there too, posting and every blah 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 blah. Both are rolling overwhelming positive user ratings on top. Chat. Hot take. Hot take, chat. I don't think time to cook is the majority of what makes a game good. I think it plays a role, sure, maybe 20%. I think a major slice of what makes games good, like in the pie, is actually whether or not they're indie game devs nowadays, chat. Like, prove me wrong. I actually think that's probably it. I think the biggest problem is that these AAA devs and publishers are breathing down your neck. He may be coping about Veilguard, but I think it's 100% true that these AAA studios, mostly across the board, that have like lost the plot because they've been taken over by investors in suits. New things don't get approved. New ideas get shot down. They want safety. That's why every Call of Duty, every new one, or every new WoW expansion is a clone of the last. They don't deviate from the formula while simultaneously adding quality of life changes and accessibility changes to basically water down the audience. Or my favorite term, hold on, this is a perfect example. Or my favorite term dubbed by WoW devs like 10 years ago that still gives me PTSD to this day, pruning. Do you guys know what pruning is? Removing buttons or features to make the games easier and more widely appealing to people who are bad. They just boil the game down until it's terrible dog shit and then sprinkle a little bit of, you know, LGBT virtue signaling on top and hire themselves self-hating white women with blue hair that are activists on Blue Sky. Hit him with the body type 1 and 2, and then boom, you got yourself a modern AAA fucking slop. It's sad. It's really sad. How many of you guys played a certain franchise or a game, and then you see it slowly devolve over like 5 to 10 years since then? Like, you see like little sparks of it happening, and then 10 years later, it's like, it's over. It's a shell of what it used to be. I remember when WoD came out and they started doing the whole pruning thing. I was like, it is actually so over, you guys. You mark my words, 10 years down the line, World of Warcraft is not going to be recognizable. And people are like, oh, Alana, you're just so full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Guild Wars 2? Yeah, I remember Guild Wars 2 was actually pretty complicated. Even the easier classes. Now it's really dumbed down. It's already unrecognizable. And you want to know what's funny? There's another one. Final Fantasy XIV, unbelievably, is actually a lot easier than what it used to be like 10 years ago when Heaven's Word came out. Final Fantasy XIV is goated. I disagree. It used to be goated, and it used to be really fun, but they somehow dumbed down a good game for a... But like, I can't really understand why you... Like, how do you dumb down a game like Final Fantasy XIV? How is that possible? It was already, like, really easy to get into. It wasn't fast-paced. There's a global cooldown on everything. I don't understand it. And I think that's what ultimately happens. It's a really good example of how MMOs and other genres eventually fall down this rabbit hole of trying to cater to, like, a dumbed-down audience and a broader audience, including story changes. Remove positionals and buff managements. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I don't. I really don't. Hit him with that body tap 1 and 2. Boom, chat. There we go. Time to put that in our video game. That'll get them. That'll get people to play. Let's alienate our core audience and cope that would attract new people. Works every time, trust me. Yeah, I don't know. I understand the need to evolve and try out new things, but at the same time, you cannot alienate your core audience to the point where they don't even want to play your game anymore. There's people who say the same thing about League of Legends. Funnily enough, it's happening apparently at Riot. That's pretty much it. Big fucking cope. Rip bozo, bitch.
Fire, fire, fire.